Hello, I'm Jasmine Irajak with the Midday News. Leader of Opposition James Nomane has highlighted the broader economic implications grey listing can have on everyday Papua New Guineans. He said grey listing can have significant repercussions for a country that is heavily reliant on imports.
Speaker, there is...
While the Treasurer and the government downplays the impacts of grey listing, Leader of Opposition and member for Tuave, James Nomane, is concerned about how this is going to affect ordinary citizens rather than what he describes as powerful figures in Waigani, highlighting a critical divide in how economic policies and their consequences are perceived across different layers of society. He said for many everyday Papua New Guineans, the impact of grey listing could manifest in several ways, including cost of living increases, access to financial services, economic stability, and public services reputational damage.
Grey listing is rarely about a single missed reform. It reflects a pattern of delayed compliance and weak implementation over time. PNG previously exited grey listing roughly 9 years ago. That period should have been used to institutionalize reforms, strengthen supervision, build prosecution capacity, and embed asset recovery systems. Instead, the 2024 Mutual Evaluation Report again identified serious effectiveness gaps with limited laundering prosecutions, insufficient confiscations, weak risk-based supervision, and coordination shortfalls. These were not new discoveries. There were recurring deficiencies discussed across multiple FATF plenaries and regional reviews.
He emphasized the necessity for a more inclusive approach in addressing financial and systemic issues that ultimately affect all citizens, particularly the vulnerable segments of the population. He said addressing such challenges will require concerted efforts from all sectors of society, including political leadership, to create a more sustainable and equitable environment for everyone in the country.
We are fragile right now. The higher risk premiums increasing borrowing costs further, adding pressure to already strained fiscal space. Inflation risks rise as foreign exchange becomes tighter and transaction costs increase. For the average citizen, this translates into higher costs of goods and services and public service. Food, fuel, medicine, school fees, and essential goods, all the prices will go up. And wages will remain the same. The people will feel the pinch. When reform warnings are issued repeatedly over nearly a decade and remain uncorrected, it is simply reckless to dismiss grey listing as a short-term effect.
However, Prime Minister James Marape has declared his government's acceptance of grey listing, committing to address all outstanding recommendations to strengthen Papua New Guinea's economic security and integrity.
I want to give assurance to the country that you would have seen not just PNG got onto the list, Q8 I think this time around, and that's part of the process that is running. There are many other countries also in the grey list. Some have taken so long to get out. We've got out of grey list in 2015. We got into the grey list thereabouts. We've got out earlier. We now been placed back on a grey list, especially with the spotlight on money laundering, and in time, possibly 1 or 2 years. And I've given all state agencies within 1 year to finalize on activities that needs to be done, the 8 or 9 points as observed that we must do.
Freddie Mo, TVWAN News.
Work to expand the Koki fish market has begun with a groundbreaking ceremony held yesterday. The expansion will see the inclusion of a new eatery, giving Port Moresby residents another choice with a waterfront view. Leaders of Port Moresby held a groundbreaking ceremony yesterday to commence Phase 2 of the Koki fish market.
2 and 3.
Member for Moresby South, Justin Kuchenko, said once the 15 million kina project is complete, it will offer city residents another choice of eatery.
Impressions of the brand new Koki Fish Market Stage 2. It will have a 300-seat dining area with restaurants, with fish fresh fruit, fish and seafood products for sale. It will also have all the facilities for you to come and sit down with your families and have a nice fish and chips and a cold drink and to take in the nice breeze.
Kuchenko said it will increase the sales of seafood as the idea is to enable the public to come and buy fresh processed seafood and eat fresh seafood straight from the hook.
National Fisheries gave us 10 million. So this is the manifestation of the result of the 10 million. And CDC under my leadership with the past city manager, they all support us and your member, and we have built this unique market here in Southside in our capital city.
City Manager Ravu Frank shared that the Koki market assists vendors that come as far as Abao and Rigo District and Kariko District, including those from Gulf Province.
People from Central Province, all the way up to Hula, going up to Aroma, both Rigo Coast and Abao Coast, of course stretching down towards the west, Hirikoyari, Kairuku, and of course I think it'd be only fair to also make mention of people from Gulf who also come and sell, I think their shells here in this market. So this is a wonderful project, and in the scheme of things, in the Urban Development Plan 2020 to 2030, the plan that's been approved by NCDC board and also was given endorsed and blessed by the Prime Minister in 2020, and the plan calls for a livable, a productive, and a sustainable city.
The project is scheduled to be completed and open in June 2026. Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific Partners PNG has set a strong direction for 2026, focusing on growth, staff development, and environmental sustainability. The company revealed its plans during its annual business conference held in Lae for the first time.
Senior managers from across the country gathered in Lae under the theme Further Together. The meeting brought together the company's top 40 leaders to review performance, align priorities, and prepare for the year ahead. Country Manager Tim Solly said the annual conference plays an important role in ensuring leaders understand the company's plans across all departments, from commercial operations to supply chain and support services. Presentations were delivered by senior executives from across the Pacific region and PNG operations, covering finance, operations, people management, security, communications, and sustainability goals. Head of People and Culture Fred Daniels highlighted the company's focus on developing its workforce through training and capability building across sales teams and the supply chain operations. Environmental responsibility also remained a key priority. Head of Public Affairs, Communications and Sustainability Dorothy Bengo outlined ongoing efforts to reduce the company's carbon footprint, particularly through plastic bottle recovery programs operating in Port Moresby and Lae. In 2025, the company collected more than 29 million plastic bottles, which were processed and shipped offshore for recycling, maintaining its position as the only beverage manufacturer in PNG actively recycling PET bottles. Carol Kido Jr., TV1 News.
Turning overseas, racism is deeply embedded and systemic, across Australia's 42 universities. That's the scathing assessment delivered by the Australian Human Rights Commission in its landmark Respect at Uni report. It found discrimination is having a profound impact on staff and students, with Jewish or Palestinian students and staff bearing the brunt of hostilities.
On life on campus.
Racism is deeply embedded in our universities.
The findings of a landmark study by the Australian Human Rights Commission delivered a reckoning for the higher education sector.
Universities are great institutions, but they're not perfect. And Australia is not a racist country, but racism exists.
76,000 students and staff across the nation's 42 campuses detailed widespread, pervasive and systemic discrimination in all forms.
There are 1.4 million words of experiences that were shared with us. That is harrowing reading at times.
It happens, but you wave it off because you know you have people around you who support you.
Shows that change needs to happen, something needs to be done.
70% of respondents experienced indirect racism, with 15% directly impacted. Jewish and Palestinian students and staff face the highest rates of racism at more than 90%.
Only 6% of people who experienced it were willing to make a complaint, and that is a systemic issue.
The report shows that universities are more concerned about their reputation than actually addressing racism on campus.
The report makes 47 recommendations, including a national anti-racism plan and stronger complaint systems. The federal government says it's considering the findings.
This report tells us that we're not doing enough at the moment to stamp it out where we find it or to prevent it in the first place.
Universities Australia says it'll work with the government on reforms.
What we've seen so far is these voluntary policies, these one approach at one university, another, just is not working. We need a comprehensive approach
to make campuses safe for all.
Farmers in Queensland's North Burnett region are rejoicing as some areas received a month's worth of rain on the weekend. The downpour came at an ideal time, setting producers up for winter planting.
The full and paddocks green, a far cry from an enduring dry spell.
Well, this time last week it wasn't looking anything like this. It was starting to dry off.
Grazier Peter McNaughton received 120 millimetres over the weekend, making a huge difference to the amount of feed for his cattle and planting for the winter.
It sort of saved us just at the right time, really.
Delanal recorded more than 200 millimetres.
It kept coming down. We think, I don't think we need this much.
It was an anxious wait, with water creeping close to homes. Barney Hetherington was worried about his prized poultry, but now they're reaping the benefits.
They love it. When I let them out, I'm not too sure whether they're picking the grass or whether they're getting those dewdrops off it.
Despite the joyful feeling around town, residents were nervous that history could repeat itself. This time, 4 years ago, Delanal was underwater, having received 400 millimetres of rain in one night. This time, the dry land quickly soaked up the water.
All the graziers around the place are smiling from ear to ear.
Back home, Prime Minister James Marape says the government has put in an additional 100 million kina in the 2026 budget for PNG Chiefs High Performance and Centre of Excellence that will be built at the current Bisini Softball Diamonds. This is in addition to the 100 million kina allocated last year. PM Marape said this at the opening of the PNG Chiefs head office in Port Moresby yesterday and reiterated his government's commitment to the PNG Chiefs NRL franchise.
Prime Minister James Marape was part of the PNG Chiefs head office opening at the Santos National Football Stadium yesterday and pledged his commitment to PNG Chiefs. He said that the funding is part of the government's wider support plan for the new rugby league club. The Prime Minister said this will help the franchise develop strong system and meet the professional standards required in the NRL competition. He said the government will continue to support the PNG franchise and make sure it achieves its purpose.
And I'm happy that my government has put 100 million kina last year for the Centre of Excellence. This year we have another 100 million kina. Chair Lady, don't worry about money. Money will come for the records. Our government's putting down the money to show our commitment. The Australian government will reimburse this money post-2028.
The franchise is expected to bring national pride and create opportunities for young Papua New Guineans. The Prime Minister noted that the NRL will manage the PNG club during its infant stage before PNG takes over from them. Hence, most of the decisions on the PNG Chiefs affairs will be made by NRL and the Australian Rugby League Commission.
We are fortunate that the team has a heavy link. The umbilical cord is not yet cut, and the umbilical cord is not linked to a sponsor elsewhere. It's linked directly to NRL itself. So I'm happy with this arrangement. They know running rugby league better than you and me know. We know from our semi-pro level and our domestic competition. They know it better. They still have strong attachment to us, and it's good.
The Prime Minister said this transition period is important to make sure the team becomes stable and successful in the long term. The PNG NRL franchise is expected to be one of the biggest suppliers of NRL talents, and the government will continue working with the NRL to ensure the Centre of Excellence eventuate, and the government will continue to work with the NRL to ensure the Centre of Excellence eventuate and live up to its expectations. Rex Litter, TV1 Sports.
And that ends the midday news. More to come at 6 p.m. Bye for now.